Whoops. There we go. I'm not going to play the whole Pittsburgh Penguins goal horn. I might play the whole Winnipeg Jets goal horn. I don't know. Hold on 1 second. And plug that in. And we should be good to go. And then pull up my two browsers. Hit Control H. So the Blue Jackets lost yesterday to the Pittsburgh Penguins 4-1. Even though I am disappointed that they lost, because they had they could have potentially won the season series, which could have been beneficial if Pittsburgh and Columbus were to tie at the end of the season, and maybe that could have decided who won, who got home ice advantage, and who didn't. But even the silver lining in all of that is that the Blue Jackets and Penguins split the season series. The Blue Jackets won both games in Columbus, and Pittsburgh won both games in Pittsburgh. So does that mean that the Blue Jackets wouldn't be able to beat the Penguins in a playoff series? Not necessarily, because the playoffs are a completely different animal. Oh, and by the way, the Blue Jackets lost the other night to Washington, which, my apologies, I didn't make a game preview for that video like I said I would. But they lost the season series to Washington 3-2. I'm also not... Yes, I'm disappointed about the result of that last game against Washington, but to at least have beaten Washington twice, to me, shows that the Blue Jackets are an improving team. It may not look that way. Now, other fans might not see it that way and say, but they should have beaten Washington, or they should have beaten Pittsburgh. Both Washington and Pittsburgh have been playoff teams for a while, and they have veterans who know how to win when it comes down to crunch time like this. Now, I'm not trying to say the Blue Jackets are too young of a team, but they have so many young guys who don't really know what it takes to win those types of hard-fought games at the end of the season. I'm not trying to say the Blue Jackets are going to be a one-and-done team, because I don't think they will be. I think they can beat Pittsburgh. But anyway, getting back to last game. As I said, the Penguins defeated the Blue Jackets 4-1. Hang on, just pulling up player stats. Stupid advertisement. Okay. This is from NHL.com. The Pittsburgh Penguins increased their lead for second place in the Metropolitan Division by defeating the Columbus Blue Jackets 4-1 at PPG Paints Arena on Tuesday. Pittsburgh, 49, 19, and 11, is 3 points ahead of Columbus, 49, 22, 8, and 5 points behind the Washington Capitals in the division. The Capitals defeated the Toronto Maple Leafs 4-1. This is what Jack Johnson had to say. We're definitely going to have to score more than one goal. in parentheses, the Penguins are too good of a team. We're going to have to do ourselves a favor and get some offense going here. We can't give up 4. We also can't give up 4. But the biggest thing tonight is they only need 2 to win. Columbus has lost its past 4 games, 0-3-1, and has scored fewer than 3 goals in 6 of its past 7. So the Jackets need to maybe make a change. Again, I'm not trying to say, fire John Tortorella or nothing like that, because he's been a huge part of the reason why the Blue Jackets are doing so well this season. I'm just saying maybe change up a line, something like that. Do something to get the spark back for this team. Because right now, it's missing. So, not only was the score lopsided in 4-1, but I just thought Pittsburgh just flat out outplayed Columbus last game. To be perfectly frank, let's see, team stats. The good thing is that Columbus did have more shots on goal, 39-27. However, again, that didn't turn, only one of those shots turned into a goal. And I'm not pinning this loss on Sergei Bobrovsky either and saying he was a bad goaltender in giving up 4 goals. I'm going to put some of the blame for that on the Blue Jackets defense. I don't know what's happened with them, but it just seems like something's disjointed in their defense. I can't put my finger on exactly what that is, but something is not quite right with them. And their next opponent has some good scores, so they'll need to get things going before Thursday's game, which is tomorrow, against the Winnipeg Jets, which I will be previewing in a minute. Hang on. Here we go. Game Center. I felt like Pittsburgh had all the momentum on their side, even before they scored the first goal. It just never felt like the Blue Jackets really got into the game until late. Until it was essentially too late after Pittsburgh had made it 3-1. Yeah, they led 3-0 after the second period. And I just didn't see any energy. I didn't see any intensity. I didn't see anything like that from the Blue Jackets. I wasn't sure what team I was watching, to be perfectly honest, because that's not the Columbus team I'm used to. Hopefully this is just a little rough patch for them and they can figure it out in these last couple games. But right now, I'm a little worried about them in the playoffs. I am. Especially since the Penguins and Blue Jackets are going to be playing each other again in the playoffs. It is concerning. If they can push it to 6 games, and maybe even a game 7, I would be happy. It would be fantastic if the Blue Jackets could somehow figure out a way to steal 1 game in Pittsburgh and then win the potential 3 games in Columbus, because then that would advance the Blue Jackets to the next round. Of course, that's easier said than done, because as as we saw last season, it's difficult to beat the Penguins in Pittsburgh during the Stanley Cup playoffs, as evidenced by that they won the Stanley Cup. Although they did win the Stanley Cup in San Jose, not in Pittsburgh. And the Sharks did beat them in Game 5, but that's mainly because Martin Jones that day was just a fantastic goalie. And I think Bobrovsky could play that well, because I believe he was part of the 2014 team that played the Penguins in the playoffs. So maybe he could use some of that experience and step up. We'll have to see. But on to the preview for tomorrow night's matchup against the Winnipeg Jets. This is the second and final meeting between these two teams. They already played each other in Winnipeg, and I believe the Blue Jackets won that game. Yes, 5-3 in Winnipeg on December 29th. I think that was part of their 16-game winning streak. I believe so. So, of course, the main guy you have to watch out for with this Winnipeg team is the number 2 pick from the guy who was picked second overall in the 2016 NHL draft, Patrick Laine, who I think could win the Calder Trophy for Rookie of the Year. It'll be either him or Austin Matthews, without question. In 71 games that played this season, Laine already has 36 goals, 28 assists, and 9 power play goals, and 5 game-winning goals, and 1 overtime goal. Those are fantastic stats. And it doesn't... I think he's one of the quickest skaters in the league. And I know there's other people might argue that he's not, but come on. In his last 5 games, Laine had 2 goals on April 4th against St. Louis, an assist against Ottawa on April 1st, didn't have a goal or assist against Anaheim, or against the Devils, or against the Ducks again. So he did go through a rough 3-game stretch where he didn't do anything. But, of course, Laine's not the only guy you have to worry about with this Winnipeg Jets team. There's also Brian Little. Or first, Blake Wheeler. He has 25 goals, 47 assists. So I consider Laine more of a goal scorer, but he is a fantastic playmaker overall on both sides, scoring and assisting. I think Blake Wheeler is more of an assist guy, but that's not to say that he's not a goal scorer, because through 80 games, Wheeler has 25 goals and 47 assists. So, I'm dealing with a little bit of a sore throat right now, but I'm fighting through it and making this video for you guys. And go Jackets. But anyway, getting back to Blake Wheeler. Most of Laine's goals are assisted by who else? Blake Wheeler. But Wheeler's going to get his share of open shots because of how well Laine is playing. That might draw more defenders to him, leaving Blake Wheeler wide open lanes to shoot. Hopefully Sergei Bobrovsky can stop those, or if it's Korpisalo. But Blake Wheeler, the Jets have other weapons. Line, Wheeler. Let's see. I thought Brian Little was still with them. I might be wrong. Nope, he's right there. He is still with Winnipeg. 57 games played, 20 goals, and 23 assists. So he's not quite as good of stats as Patrik Laine, but I put Laine in the same category as... I put Brian Little in the same category as Laine in terms of being a playmaker, which, again, is going to help set up Blake Wheeler and Patrik Laine. Those three kind of help each other to get open shots for the other, not necessarily just from assists alone. Little has done very well, is one of the best players, I think, in the NHL right now. He started out his career with Atlanta, but Atlanta couldn't hold on to their team, and the Thrashers moved to Winnipeg and became the Jets. And so he's pretty much played for the same franchise his entire career. It's just that the franchise has moved from one city to another. For Columbus, they need bounce-back games from Josh Anderson, Cam Atkinson, Oliver Bjorkstrand, Matt Calvert, David Clarkson. A lot of the usual suspects for Columbus need to have bounce-back games and really help get this team back on track. Foligno, 25 goals, 24 assists. That's very good, but I don't know. I haven't seen the same intensity in the past two games where he hasn't had a goal or an assist. Against Chicago, he did have one goal, but against Carolina and Buffalo, no goals, no assists. So he's only had one goal in his last 5 games. So, a lot of these guys, it's confusing, like what's happening to them. So, hopefully the Blue Jackets can get back on track and defeat the Winnipeg Jets at Nationwide Arena, and then carry that into their game against Philadelphia on, I believe, on Saturday, and then to beat the Maple Leafs on that Sunday to close out the season. So tomorrow night's game against Winnipeg is the last regular season home game for the Blue Jackets. But they will have playoff home games as well. So, until next time, Wine and Gold Unger signing off, and go Jackets. And to finish it off, let's play the goal horns for the two teams. All right. Sounded more like a train horn. Kind of weird, a little bit. So go Jackets, beat the Jets tomorrow night. Hashtag we are the fifth line.